Hello everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video. Now, I'm about to announce the winner of the Rastakhan's Rumble pre-order giveaway based on my last video. But before I do, I just wanted to say thank you very much to everyone that participated in the giveaway. The response was phenomenal. So thank you, and thank you to everyone for all of your support with my channel over the last couple of years, following me, subscribing, leaving comments, leaving feedback. It's really appreciated. So, given how positive the response was to that giveaway, we're not just going to be announcing one winner. There's going to be 3 winners in total. Now, this is really going to hurt my bank account. But as I say, this is just a thank you from me to you, to say thank you for all of that support. So we're going to have one winner of the Rastakhan's Rumble 50-pack pre-order. And we're going to have 2 winners of the Challengers Bundle 17-pack pre-order. So 3 winners in total. So without any further ado, here we go. The winner of the Rastakhan's Rumble 50-pack pre-order is King Crimson. And the winners of the 17-pack Challengers Bundle pre-orders are Philip the Grey and Ed Quiggle. Okay, so you 3 guys, congratulations on winning. I will reply to your individual comments in my previous video with instructions on how to get your pre-order packs. So congratulations again. Right, on to today's deck. Today I'm playing GetMeowth's Deathrattle Hunter. Now, Hunter, I've started playing Hunter a lot more in the last few weeks, and those of you that follow my channel will have seen more videos published relating to Hunter. And I'd credit my renewed love of the Hunter class. I'd credit that to a player called Duin. Now, I think I've created a couple of videos in the last few weeks showcasing Duin's decks. Duin is what I'd call a Hunter expert. I follow him on Twitter. He is somebody that I've learnt an awful lot from just by following his tweets, watching some of his videos that he publishes on Twitter, and looking at some of his deck construction thoughts. He's really good at constructing Hunter decks in Wild, and I've learnt an awful lot from him. So, in fact, in the next few days, I'll be publishing another video for Duin's Subject 9 Hunter deck in Wild, because it's really been doing some positive work for me. But in this video, I'll be looking at GetMeowth's Deathrattle Hunter deck. GetMeowth is another phenomenal Wild Mode player. Do yourselves a favour, watch him on Twitch every week. I certainly learn a lot watching him. He's a great Wild Mode player, plays some pretty fun, pretty creative and innovative decks. Certainly worth watching. And this is his Deathrattle Hunter deck. What is interesting about this deck is if you look at Deathrattle Hunter in Standard and Wild, you're often seeing Devilsaur Egg played. But this particular deck plays Nerubian Egg, which is a Wild exclusive card, and you'll often see, typically in Deathrattle Hunter, Deathrattle activators like Play Dead, Terrascale Stalker. Those are common Deathrattle activator cards, but this deck takes it a step further and includes a couple more activators as well. Feign Death and Goblin Prank. So, Feign Death, I guess really good if you've got more than one Deathrattle body on the board. Goblin Prank, that's a card that you don't see played very much. This is coming out of the most recent Boomsday expansion. Goblin Prank will give a minion rush and will then kill off that minion at the end of the turn. So it's just a good way of taking an egg, which often has 0 attack, doing something useful with it by allowing it to attack into an enemy minion and then triggering the Deathrattle effect. So pretty interesting in this deck. As you go into sort of the early game with this deck, I guess you're looking for cards like Candle Shot. Tracking is pretty good to get. You're also looking for those eggs, but you're also looking for Deathrattle triggers as well. So if you're lucky, you know, you can play in Nerubian Egg, you can play Devil's Store Egg, and if you then have a couple of Deathrattle triggers like Play Dead or Terrascale Stalker, you can get a board presence going relatively quickly within your first sort of 3, 4, 5 turns. You can get unlucky at times where you don't draw any of your trigger effects and you don't get Play Dead, you don't draw Terrascale Stalker, you don't draw Goblin Prank, but you're just stuck with a load of eggs that you've played on the board and they don't do anything. That is, I think, the one drawback with this deck, potentially. But anyway, as you head into the mid game, you know you've got the likes of Carnivorous Cube to trigger Deathrattle effects. You've got Witchwood Grizzly, really good against aggro, who tends to empty their hand quite early. Deathstalker Rexar for that infinite zombie beast value. Sylvanas is a very interesting inclusion in this deck. Goes very well with Play Dead, so Sylvanas for 6 plus 1 mana for Play Dead, so on turn 7 you could potentially steal a big enemy minion. And as you go into the late game, you have Katrina Winter Wisp to bring out a King Crush or to bring out a Witchwood Grizzly. So that's a quick overview of the deck, and finally, let's not forget, Explosive Sheep is also in this deck as well. Very, very good against aggro. I guess if you're facing lots of paladins, it's a pretty cool inclusion. So we're going to have a look at one game of this deck in action on the Wild Mode ladder.
Let the hunt begin.
Right, so we're going up against a shaman here, and it's more than likely an even shaman. I'm keeping tracking because it costs 1, and I'm keeping the Nerubian Egg because it costs 2. So we have a potential curve going for us, and Terrascale Stalker now for 3 seems pretty decent. A 1 into a 2 into a 3. Oh look, we can count. Feels good.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
So even Shaman being the most popular build of Shaman that you face on Wild, it's very much a tier 1 deck. It specialises in getting big threats out relatively early, 4 mana 7/7s, cheap things from below. I think the way we win this game is by building up our own sort of heavy board presence by triggering the Deathrattles on our eggs. So it is sort of a bit of a race to see who can build a solid board state early. Now, I'm playing the tracking here instead of the Nerubian Egg, and there's a reason for that. To deny me value on my Deathrattle effects, or my Deathrattle cards I should say, he could trade the Totem Golem into the Nerubian, and then that stops me from getting value with my Terrascale Stalker. It's a common strategy that players now adopt to deny Deathrattle value. But we've just drawn Play Dead, so this is now a good opportunity to trigger that Deathrattle effect. Shredder placement is a bit concerning there. Not playing the Shredder in the middle. And what is interesting is that he's ignored the Nerubian Egg, which is now just going to let me get more and more value from this one egg. This is pretty cool. And now we're building up this board state that can challenge his board state. Debating between the Feigned Death and the Goblin Prank. I'm going to go with the Prank here, just because now it lets me attack my Nerubian into something else. So we get a nice trade. And now we trigger that Deathrattle effect. So this is a relatively strong board state here for us. And he's still going face. That's really interesting. I suspect that his plan is to get our health down as low as possible, and then to finish us off with spells. But, of course, he just used a crackle on a minion. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. It means our face isn't going to be hit by a crackle anytime soon. Really good value there on the taunt. And now he's going to have quite a job getting through that taunt. I guess Devolve is a possibility, but would still end up with a reasonable board state, even if you were to play Devolve. I'm looking at that Sylvanas, and I'm looking at Feign Death in my hand. That'd be an interesting turn 8 combo. It's quite slow, potentially. Which is why, maybe, I just play Sylvanas now.
I have no time.
Get it down on the board. And if he does have Devolve, this will really test for it. But I suspect this game is pretty much over. Even with Devolve, would still have a strong board state. And because we were able to get off all of those Deathrattle triggers on that one turn, that's what's pushed us over the top here to sort of dominate the board and to win the game. I think his board state now with Thing from Below, it's too little too late. I don't believe that, well, I was going to say I don't believe there's an easy lethal here. The only way we can perhaps win this is if we steal the Flame Tongue totem. So we'd have to trade the Sylvanas into Thing from Below, steal the Flame Tongue, and that would give us the attack power needed to kill him.
Let none survive.
So, our RNG today is pretty good. And that is precise lethal. Feels pretty good. Okay, one quick little clip to finish us off. Also against an even shaman, who's actually a friend of mine. And this was just a little friendly challenge that we did. When you have a board full of taunts, 312 taunts to be precise, it doesn't matter if your opponent has Sea Giants on the board. It doesn't matter if they have 4 mana 7/7s. It doesn't matter if they have Things from Below. Those taunts are going to be really hard to get through. So an army of Witchwood Grizzlies here, going to work. And actually, all of this, by the way, was the result of Cube and Goblin Prank. So this is what Goblin Prank, Cube, and I think Play Dead can do to a board state. So, GetMeowth's Deathrattle Hunter. What do I think of this deck? It's a really, really fun deck to play. It's different to what is currently out there in the meta. If you look at other Hunter decks on Wild Mode, you see a lot of Secret Hunter now. You see a little bit of Spell Hunter. I've even seen a slight resurgence in Reno Hunter, but not many people are playing that. But this kind of Deathrattle Hunter that plays a Nerubian Egg, that plays Goblin Prank, they even play Sylvanas. You know, it's not something that you commonly see, so you do have the element of surprise with this deck, and so that makes it pretty fun to play. So I'd be curious to see what you guys think of the deck. I'd be curious to see how you think it compares to the other builds of sort of Deathrattle Hunter or even Secret Hunter. And if you've got any thoughts, please leave them in the comments section below. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Congratulations once again to our 3 winners of the Rastakhan's Rumble pre-order giveaway. And I'll see you guys all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun, where we will be looking at Duwin's Subject 9 Secret Hunter once again in a little bit more depth.